and we'll get going with just just us. So, so I'm really glad that you guys showed up, though. That is makes me feel good. I would, of course, have liked to have more people because I think that what we are doing is really important to developing a presence online and offline in the world so that you can communicate what you want to communicate with your creative endeavor. And so what I'm going to do is, well, the first thing before I even go into, well, maybe I'll do that first because Joyce is new and I want to make sure that this is clear. So I'm going to share my screen right away before we even introduce ourselves. And let's see, share my screen. Okay. Is it allowing me to do that? Who can share? Only host. Why is it not sharing my screen?
Not yet.
Interesting. Why is it not sharing my screen? Okay, get all this set up and then it's not working. Okay. Let me see.
Well, that's never happened before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's always such a challenge to know why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Who can share? Host. Click share screen. I don't know why it's not sharing.
Oh dear.
Oh, maybe I have to go up here. Speaker. Okay. Now share screen. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Yay. All right. Okay, I'm going to put a couple things up here for you guys to see, and then I'm going to do some explanation. We want to get rid of this guy, and we want to move us over to the side. Okay, so what the Posting with Purpose Play Shop is all about and why we're doing Boomer Zoomer calls, and then to address Dee's question about how we're working people dropping in and out and whether that is working. I don't know. I want to get your feedback on that, which is really important to me to make this work for everybody. So the reason that I started the Posting with Purpose Play Shop is that women our age, and I call us the chronologically gifted creatives, we are often not comfortable online in social media or even using technology, period. The thing is that we have so much to offer the world in terms of our creative endeavors. And that may be our artwork. It may be if we're writers or authors. It may be if we're coaches and we're working with people for transformation of one sort or another. All of these things I call creative endeavors. And if we are not online these days, we are really not able to share our gifts as much as they are needed. And I think that the technology and social media, it bamboozles a lot of women our age. And so my purpose to setting up the Posting with Purpose Play Shop was to help chronologically gifted creative women get comfortable with online presence and develop a presence and know how to communicate online so that they enchant and attract exactly the audience that will want, and I would say pay for, the value they have to give. And pay for may be in dollars. If the if the person needs dollars, needs to have paid coaching clients, or wants to sell a book, or wants to support themselves. I mean, it's hard living off of Social Security. I can't do it. So if we want to have people pay money for the value we give, then we need to be able to attract those who will and not be pushy and icky about it. There's also the paying for value in other ways that may not be money. But I believe that currency is more than money. And it's a giving and receiving process. It's like a current in a river. It flows. And if you have to give and you have to receive, and you have to give and you have to receive. And that's where the big benefits come, is when that currency is flowing. If there's a dam in the river and the current can't flow, it causes problems. And if there's a block with us where we aren't giving or we aren't receiving in that flow, it can be a problem. So what I hope to do with this group is help people be comfortable. And because I've been doing this for a long, long time, I have processes that I've set up, and I have, I'm one of those people that is both an artist and a right brainer and a left brainer. I like systems, I like organization, and I like processes that work. And I like to develop them, actually. But they are linear and they build on one thing on the next. And that's where it becomes challenging. As Dee said, what do you do when you have a free event, or, like this Boomer Zoomer meetup is free to anybody who wants to come. And then there's the Posting with Purpose Play Shop. That's a group of people who have decided to invest in a monthly membership, and they get a whole lot more than just these Boomer Zoomer meetups. Problem is that it's stuff that builds one on the next. And so if people don't show up and they miss parts and pieces, and if they don't take advantage of asking me to fill them in or to help them, or asking each other on the Facebook group to, have that interaction, it's very hard to have that continuity. And so I think that's what you're kind of thinking of and expressing, Dee, is what happens when you miss a block of information that had, the building blocks before, and now we've leapt over something and we're building on something that you don't have the structure to build on. I'm challenged by that myself, because my teacher brain says, okay, I've developed this curriculum. Here's my lesson plan. Here are the handouts. Here's the homework. And it's like, I try to make it fun. But if nobody does it, what am I doing it for? And does that mean that you aren't getting value? And that bothers me if you aren't getting value. So what I have up here on the screen is two things. This first one, this blue one, Posting with Purpose, Play Shop Online, is sort of the manifesto of, what I was hoping to accomplish, and what I think we all need to do in order to develop an enchanting presence online and in the world. I mean, it's not just online. So these things, be clear about your purpose. Why, what, how, who, and your mantra. Those are all the things that we have been doing these last several weeks. And we started out with the why, that's your core values, the what, your vision and mission, or your vision, your how is your mission, your who is who you are wanting to serve, who is your audience. And it has to be very, very specific. And so we worked last week with Mama Red to define down the who even further than we had done before to an avatar, to a particular individual who represents an audience. And it doesn't really matter what your creative endeavor is, whether you are publishing written a book and you're wanting to market it or get it out, not even sell it, if you just want people to read it. If you are an artist and you have a specific body of work that you're working on, or you work within themes and you want to either show your work in a gallery or have an audience to view it in some way, perhaps even selling it. If you are a coach, your audience, who you're coaching, if you're a life coach and you are focused on helping women who are over 50 with their self-development process, your who looks a lot different than a coach who coaches women who want to get pregnant. I mean, it's a totally different audience. You're both coaches, so you have to define, because if you just throw your stuff out there to everybody, you won't be heard by anybody. And so you have to define your who. And then your message and your mantra. So we worked a lot on purpose statements. And the purpose statement had a formula where you take your why plus your what plus your how, what is actually your why plus your how plus your who equals your what. And it's pretty powerful when you break it down and you come up with a purpose statement. The thing is that purpose statements are long and hard to memorize sometimes. And so the next step is to hone it down to a mantra, which we're going to do today. These are the things that I hope our Posting with Purpose Play Shop people do. We keep it silly, simple, silly. We don't get overwhelmed. We have fun. We get the setup right. Now, we have hardly had any time to go into the tech. I have recorded one video that's in our membership site on setting up your Facebook settings, so that your privacy settings, so that you're protected and you are as private or as public as you choose to be. I don't think anybody's watched it. I mean, I can peek into my back office of my website and I can see who's been there and if anybody's been there. And guess what? There's not much traffic going there.
I didn't know it was there. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go watch it now. I didn't know. I
think maybe I mean, you have already been through some of this. So you've been through the privacy settings stuff, but from our Play Shop 2 years ago, we're supposed to be looking at that like every month to make sure that stuff isn't sketchy and that we are happy with the way that we are showing up on Facebook. I see these people that, oh, I've been hacked. Oh, I've been, my identity's been stolen, or blah, 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 blah. Well, they don't have to have that happen. They have control. So anyway, this part, getting the setup right, I really want to get into that more, but I really want this to be solid before we start posting anything. Goal setting, and this is really important. Smarter goals, and smarter goals are better than smart goals, but goals are good. And I think that our workshop next week, Wednesday, will be really helpful and fun in getting clarity, focus, and direction, which is goals. And that's happening on Wednesday, next Wednesday. And Celia Gates will be facilitating the weather system, WHETHER, whether this or whether that. And it is so much fun. And she is phenomenal. We are so lucky to have her facilitating instead of me. And I'm just excited beyond belief about that. The other thing is we have to be consistent and show up. And we have to go at our own pace, collaborate, and co-create. I mean, that's huge. If we want to have a presence, we have to work with other people. Social media is social. Otherwise, it's not going to get out there. It's going to be kind of stuck in that dam. The dam is going to hold it back. And then have fun. Now I posted this, and I don't know whether, it seems kind of silly to go through it all with just a couple people, but I think what I will do is I will send it out in an email and also put it on the membership site. When I was in the Bay Area, and I was going to a networking group every single Friday for 4 years. And it was called Successful Thinkers. And one of the things that Successful Thinkers did was they had steps to success. And there were 9 steps. And I looked at them the other day. And what they would do with these 9 steps to success is every week, somebody in the group would take one of the steps and talk about what that meant to them and how they were fulfilling it. And it was really powerful because everybody had a different take on things. For me, I loved doing it because I loved to stand up and talk about what was going on in my life and my business as it related to the 9 steps. And so when I looked at the 9 steps the other day, I thought, oh, I'm going to morph these into steps for success with us. Very similar to Successful Thinkers, but tailored to us. In Successful Thinkers, guess what? The very first thing was know your why. Well, that's the very first thing with us too. Know your why, your vision, your mission, your who, and articulate your purpose and your message and your mantra. That's what we're doing. Create your own playbook to define and redefine your path. Now we're all of an age that we've done this work before. A lot of this work, some of it no, but some of it yes. But guess what? We change. We evolve. And if we worked on this stuff, our core values and our vision and our mission, when we were 30 or 40, it is slightly different now. So redefining your path is, I think, important. I think it's important to always be growing and looking, how can we be better? Spend a few hours a week on social media and have fun. Check in with our group at least twice a week and engage and co-create. So I kind of capitalized fun. I don't think we should do anything if it's not fun. If it's not fun, don't do it. But how do you know it's not fun if you don't try? And the other thing on social media, and this is the same as in personal peer-to-peer networking. If you don't engage with people, why are you going? It's not going to get you anything, and it's not going to be fun. Co-create. I am a co-creator. I am a collaborator. I know the value of working together. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that is so true with social media. If we try to Lone Ranger it, we fail. And so being successful is co-creating is part of being successful. Listen to and communicate with stories. Story is so important. If we're preaching, from the pulpit, and we're being, we're always presenting without stories, it's boring. It's like, I'm starting to feel bored with what I'm doing right now because there's no story here. Be positive and edify. We had a section a few weeks ago about embracing your competition. And Betty Louise presented about her way of looking at embracing your competition, which is different than my way. And so I think that was really valuable to have her present and give her ideas about what embracing your competition means. For me, I really feel that embracing your competition means you're not competing. Instead, you're co-creating. And to me, that's a positive thing. I am a glass overflowing. I am Pollyanna. I am a positive person, but it works for me. I attract positive people and I have a very happy life. And I think it's in part because of that. Edifying is so important. I loved the introduction that you gave between me and Joyce D. That was beautifully edifying. I mean, that's the way, we know this.
I forgot what I said now.
Nice things about both people, which is really what, isn't that what we were taught, how we were taught to introduce people? Mm-hmm. So we keep doing it because people our age, women our age, learn to do that, and that works. That works to edify people all the time. Find the good things in people, not the bad things, and don't ever talk about bad things in other people. It's just like, no. On social media, it's the same thing. If somebody's posting junk, gossip, negative stuff, you do not have to engage with it. You do not have to like, comment, share it. You don't even have to read it. And if you don't click on it, guess what? After a while, it won't even show up in your feed. And that is something that we'll be learning when we finally get to the social media part of this thing, that we're working here with artificial intelligence. And we are smarter than artificial intelligence if we know what to do. And so it drives me batty when people say, Facebook is so negative. Facebook has all this crap on it. Facebook, blah, blah, blah. No, you are opening yourself to that. You have not put up the barricades and the blocks to keep the negative out. So we will learn how to do that. We want to build our presence and be confident in our magnificence. We are awesome. We are all uniquely magnificent, doing amazing things. I am blown away by the stuff that this group is doing. Every single person is doing amazing things. And so we want to be confident in that and present our presence as not as braggarts and not as icky pushers, but as enchanting, magnificent, chronologically gifted creatives. That's what we are. And always show up, walk your talk. This is one that I used to talk about at Successful Thinkers a lot, because there's a lot of layers to showing up. There's showing up every week for a Boomer Zoomer call, if you can make it. There's showing up by doing your homework. There's showing up by being who you are and walking and your talk. Your values are your talk. Your walk is your presence in the world, supporting your values, your vision, your mission. That's walking your talk and showing up in the world with that presence. And that's authentic. That's not a put upon presence. It's not a disguise. It's not wearing a mantle of fakeness. It's being who you are in your magnificence. Connect often and build relationships. This is huge for social media. There's a process, and I will dig out and post on our membership site an article I wrote for LinkedIn, 10 years ago, about contact, connection, relationships. That is social media. That is what we do on social media platforms. Contacts are people that come into our world. We nurture those contacts into connections. We reach out, we connect. I like to take it, well, this past year, the connections I make, say on Facebook, in a group, I schedule a Zoom call with them so that I can meet them one-on-one and spend a half hour with them, get to know them, connect, find out what similarities we have or what awesome things they're doing. And all of this stuff is so rich. I used to do it in person, go have lunch with somebody, I know people from all over the world that I have met through online. And I like Celia. And I have become such close friends with them through, and I make an effort. Back in the day, when we could go out and be outside, I would drive to LA to meet somebody, or I would go to TED Talks and be in the audience and meet people that I had connected with online. It's huge. And now I can literally travel around the world and stay with people because they've become my friends, because I've taken connection to the next level and developed relationships. This is what social media can do for us. And that can really help us communicate our presence and our gifts of whatever our creative endeavor is, without being pushy and salesy and icky. And then to invite new people to grow our group. And, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The more parts you have, the richer the whole becomes. In a co-creative group, everybody puts their gifts out. Their gifts are all different, and they get back exactly what they need because somebody else has that gift to give. And that's what I'd like to see happen with our group. So that was kind of a long blah, 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 but maybe that clarified a little bit for Joyce, and maybe that helped Dee with the continuity question. I don't know. You know, I don't have an answer to that. And at the end of the hour, if we have some time, I do have some specific questions to ask you guys about your experience with the Boomer Zoomer calls and the posting with purpose, but I may also put that out in email. I did not get feedback forms from everybody when I sent out the feedback forms, which were invaluable. I may do that again, I don't know. So moving on, anybody have any questions about any of that or comments?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I got called away to the door. What I wrote down from your LinkedIn article, contact, nurture into connections, and then I missed the third thing. Would you
relationships.
And then, okay, so then connections build relationships. Is that?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
it's sort of a three-step process. And I'll post that article because in the article, I actually gave examples, LinkedIn examples,
right.
But right. I may rewrite it and make it more Facebook examples because you guys are on Facebook more than LinkedIn.
So I just want to feed back to you about that part, which is, I don't see her today, but Gunhild, what's her last name? I don't know.
Mick Wickelson.
Okay, whatever. Gunhild, who is in Norway, I met through this process. Well, actually, one other thing before that, built on your knowing her. And all of a sudden, it's like I'm networked back to my Norwegian family. And I'm going to go to Norway and I'm going to go see my family and I'm going to go meet this amazing woman that just shows up online, you know, most Fridays. I haven't seen her today, but I mean, it's extraordinary. And somewhere around here, I have a copy of her, what's that called, Susan? The grandmother, Grandma
Gertrude's.
What's her book called?
Grandma Gertrude's bedtime.
Grandma Gertrude's bedtime story. It's phenomenal. So it feels like, I just have to say this, it feels like there's this company of witches and mystics and goddesses that have been quietly somewhere, I don't know, on the planet. And you get us, well, we're all kind of coming together, yay.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a perfect example of the contact going to the next level of a connection, and then going to the further level of a relationship where magic happens. It's in that relationship place where the juju is. That's where the magic is. And that can be all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I literally manifested Guy Kawasaki, one of my mentors, who's a huge influencer and famous guy that you pay buku money to get him to come give a keynote speech of a half hour at a conference. I think he charged, well, back in the day, he charged $250,000 to do a keynote at a big, gigantic conference. You know, that's a lot of money. And I adore him, you know that. I, talk about his book. He is the guru of enchantment. And I have built a relationship with him that is so cool. And just the other day, I mean, this just happened a couple of weeks ago, I had a wonderful conversation with him. It was just like a fun bantering back and forth via email. It was just like a blessing. And I'm just like, whoa, I feel like I have a true relationship with him. And it was exactly this process. Contact was not even a very close contact, but when I literally manifested him and he showed up next to me in a cafe working on his book, there was a connection made. And then nurturing that onto a relationship. And you know what? The relationship that we built was all built on this: be positive and edify. It was never about me. I didn't approach him as being, I'm great. I'm Susan Davis. I'm doing. No, it was more, holy moly, I adore you. I adore this, this, and this, and this about you. And, this is so cool that you're right here. So this stuff works. And Dee, you're right. You're so right that your relationship with Gunhild is an perfect example. And I can't wait to go to Norway and be on that farm. So that's good. So anybody else have any questions about anything? And if not, I will move on. I don't know. I was gonna show you
about the mantra.
Well, I want to move on to the mantra. I was going to talk about Wednesday's event and Celia. Holy smokes, I am just incredibly honored that Celia Gates will be facilitating the Mastermind in the Brilliant Zone workshop, because she, like Guy Kawasaki, is a huge influencer. And in the EU, Asia, India, where she lives and does most of her work, people pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do what she's going to do for us on Wednesday. And she's just such a wonderful person. So I did a little bit of searching around, because she's also a very humble person. And I did some searching around, and I found on YouTube a 15-minute, it's like a TED Talk done in Europe, I think probably 4 or 5 years ago. I will give you the link for that, because I'd love you to watch it, because then you'll see how blessed we are to have Celia facilitating the weather system, and how much fun the weather system is, and how valuable it is. And again, Dee has done it twice.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And, knows that it's really special. So I'm not going to go into the big blah, blah, blah about it, because I really do want to move on to this stuff. And so let's dive into that. Let's see. This one has my script on it. Okay, so a few weeks ago, we developed our purpose statements. And the purpose statement follows this formula. I believe that, and you plug in your core values, which is your why, and the purpose of your creative endeavor, whatever that may be, title of your book, the title of your name of your business, the title of your body of work you're working on, whatever, is to your mission and your who you plug in there. So that your vision, and you come out with a vision, a purpose statement. So here's the one that I'm going to skip mine, and I'm going to go to Sarah's, that Sarah posted in the Facebook group. And Joyce, the Facebook group is for the members who are paying the $47 a month to have access to the private group, more access to me, and then there's a membership site that has all of what I call the PlayBook, which is a book that I wrote with a lot of exercises to guide you through this linear process and a bunch of other resources, as well as all of the recordings of the of these calls and other stuff. Oh, sorry about that. So this was Sarah's. I believe that integrity, personal freedom, service, and respect are the core of happiness and success. And the purpose of Prime Spark is to change the way older women are seen and treated so that their skills, experience, and wisdom are not lost to the world. Now, that's pretty darn good, I think, for a purpose statement. And
I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Can you please read it again?
I'll read it again.
Okay.
And the colors are, the values are the yellow. The name of her creative endeavor is the blue. The pink is her mission and her who. And the green is her vision. Okay? So she plugged those in. Here's her book, which is actually a playbook. It has
playbook.
Where you're supposed to, things you're supposed to do. Okay, I believe that integrity, personal freedom, service, and respect are the core of happiness and success. And the purpose of Prime Spark is to change the way older women are seen and treated so that their skills, experience, and wisdom are not lost to the world. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if that's a beautiful purpose statement, if you were posting that on social media every single day with a picture or something that would attract the audience that you wanted, which is her who, older women, it would be nice. And I think that once in a while, posting that whole thing would serve a purpose. But to be able to hone it down to a mantra is much more usable in social media and also very powerful. So a mantra, a definition of a mantra is a word or short phrase that's often repeated and expresses a particularly strong belief. The fewer words we use, the more impact they have, and the more memorable they will be. This is called a mantra. And you know, mantras, like the shortest mantra in the world is Om, O-M, and it's a spiritual, it's a way of connecting spiritually to God, to spirit, and it's powerful. Repeating a mantra is part of a spiritual practice, and we repeat a mantra consistently when communicating our message in our online presence and with our social media posts. This is posting with purpose. So, how do we get to a mantra? I've dissected it, and I have to warn you guys, in high school, I loved diagramming sentences. That was like my favorite thing to do. And so what do? But I become an editor, but I also become somebody who loves to play with words. I love words, and I love to pick to see if we can hone the power of words to the most powerful. So what we do first is we pull out of our purpose statement our values and the verbs. Okay, so prime sparks, values, which are the ones in yellow. I pulled them out: integrity, personal freedom, service, respect, change, the values and the verbs. So here's the values: integrity, personal freedom, service, and respect. The verbs are change, seen, and treated. Okay? Then the next step is to take the values and turn them into active verbs. The more active verb, the better. The passive verbs are the be words, to be and to be or not to be. That's passive. But active will work better because you want to communicate as strongly and as enchantingly as possible. So turn those verbs or those values into verbs. So let's go down to Sarah's. So her pullouts, her integrity, personal freedom, and service, and respect, those are all nouns, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to turn them into verbs. Now, there's a great tool that I'm going to show you, and you will have a link to it. My desktop is really messy now. Where are my, let me see if I can pull this up this way.
Headline analyzer tool, we can see it.
Well, I'm going to give you first Word Hippo. Okay, Word Hippo is a fun one. So I'm going to take Sarah's, I'm going to take her, the hardest one for me with hers was integrity, turning integrity into a verb. So let's see. I'm going to put integrity into Word Hippo. So it's wordhippo.com, and I'll give you the link. It has a bunch of different things. So it's sort of like a thesaurus, but bigger. You can look up antonyms, which is the opposite, definitions, rhyming words. That's kind of a fun one to play with. Sentences, translations, find words. If you click on find words, I think it's find words, let's see. No, word forms, and you pick verb and you stick that in there, integrity, and you say, find it. Okay, what is the verb for integrity? And then it gives you all this really good information. Now, is all of this, you're not going to use every single word in this page here, but it gives you some synonyms that are verbs that will work. And maybe integrate works, but maybe in this case, I can't remember what I used. I pulled one of the, I think it is what I used. But anyway, this tool will give you a lot of words to play with and to make work in your own mantra. And of course, you know your mantra, you know what you want to communicate better than anybody. But what I did with Sarah's, let's see if I can put this back there. What I did with Sarah's was I pulled out from integrity, integrate, embody, unify. Those were the words that I thought worked the best. Then freedom. A verb for freedom was release, liberate. Respect is can be a verb already. It can be a noun or a verb. Change is a verb. It's in there. I converted seen, past tense, to see, because to be in the present tense is much more powerful than being in the past tense. So we want to communicate in the present tense. And treat was a verb as well. Treated, past tense, turned it into present. Now I didn't use all these words because the next step is to take what you will do for your who, okay? The mantra doesn't have so much to do with yourself. I believe that blah, blah, blah. In Sarah's case, it was beautiful. I believe that integrity, personal freedom, service, respect are the core of happiness and success and the purpose of prime spark, blah, blah, blah. That is very engaging and powerful and enchanting. But when we're doing a mantra, we want to say what we will do for our who, okay? And we can preface it with the I or we just to get it formed, but we want to do this with the less than 10 words. That's the goal. So I don't think it's necessary to put we on it, or I'm a we person, so I don't preface many things with I preface them with we. But in the case of Sarah's, I honed it down to embody, liberate, respect wisdom, serve and shift perceptions, enrich humanity. So this becomes kind of like a tagline, except it's much more audience-oriented, what you will do for your audience. Then a tagline is often what the company is doing for the company, or what the artist is doing for the artist. This is your audience. So in this case, Sarah might say, Prime Spark embodies, liberates, respects wisdom, serves and shifts perceptions, enriches humanity. So you could add you could make it that way too. So here's the difference, and they're both, I think they're both excellent for communicating what Sarah is all about and what her Prime Spark is all about, and the work that she's doing with women over 55. She hasn't seen this yet because she was not able to be here. And so we'll see what she thinks. And the step that you do after you get this, and I will do it right now, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it in my other toy. This is the headline analyzer that the Advanced Marketing Institute has, this great free tool. And it's really fun. Now there are other headline analyzers. There's another one that I use occasionally that has more to do with blog post titles and social media keywords, things like that. But this one for playing around, to me, these are like word games. I could do this stuff all day. So I'm going to put into this box her embody, liberate, respect wisdom, serve and shift. I think I'm going to take this little thingy out because I don't think it'll process it well. Enrich humanity. Okay. You put your thing in there. It says enter up to 20 words. You have to have 4 to get it to work. You click submit for analysis. And now the magic happens. It gives you a score. Now the score, you see here, it says EMV. This is emotional I think it's marketing value. So this little bit of artificial intelligence is set up to capture words and gauge the emotional impact of those words. And they separate them out into 3 different categories: intellectual, spiritual, and what's the other one? We'll have to go back and I will show you what they are, but let's look at Sarah's score first. So when it puts it through the little artificial intelligence thing, it came out with 50%. Now what they say here is that this score indicates your headline has a total of 50% emotional marketing value, EMV words. To put that in perspective, the English language contains approximately 20% EMV words. For comparison, most professional copywriters' headlines will typically have 30 to 40% EMV words in their headlines. While the overall EMV score for your headline is 50%, your headline also has a predominant emotional classification. So in this case, this particular headline is more intellectual, will appeal emotionally to more intellectual type audiences. Now, that's not to say that somebody who's not erudite will not respond. They will, but emotionally, it is more of the intellectual type. And I can read this to you if you want, or you can go, do you want me to read it? Or can you see it well enough to?
What?
The description.
The green part?
Yeah, what intellectual means. I'll read it. Your headline carries words that predominantly appeal to most people's intellectual sphere. Intellectual impact words are especially effective when your goal is to arouse curiosity and when offering products and services that require reasoning or careful evaluation. The majority of words with emotional impact in the English language fall in this intellectual category. Intellectual impact words are the most used of all 3 categories and have the broadest appeal to people in general. Intellectual impact words are best used to attune copy and sales messages aimed at people and businesses involved in the fields of education, law, medicine, research, politics, and similar fields, while not restricted to these groups. By giving presentations which are weighted with intellectual impact words, your clients and customers will be more positively influenced and you are more likely to attain a more favorable response. I think that is really interesting, knowing Sarah, as I have known her for many years, and knowing that she is preparing a TED Talk. Now, who goes to TED? Who listens to TED Talks?
Smart people.
A lot of intellectual types and people in these fields: education, law, medicine, research, politics, and similar fields. So 50% is a good score. It says here, most professional copywriters' headlines will typically have a 30 to 40% EMV words in their headlines. So her mantra that I pulled out of her purpose statement, now it can be massaged, it can be changed up, but using these words gained a really nice score. Now, I play with this tool a lot, and I will tell you, the more verbs you have, the more active verbs you have in your headline or mantra that you put in here, the higher the score will be. And that's because people emotionally respond to active verbs. This is interesting and important stuff, I think. Now watch this. This is crazy. So Betty Louise and I had a company or a project called the Co-Passion Project. And when what happened? Where'd it go? Come on, come back. When we were doing the copywriting, writing copy for the Co-Passion Project, we came up with this. Let's see. Positively human.
A human being positively human.
Yes. And that became our mantra that we used in all kinds of social media posts and other outreach. Watch what happens. This blew me away. I felt like I hit the jackpot.
100%. Oh my God.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? 100%. And look at how this time it
intellectual and spiritual.
Before it separated it out into all three, but I don't know why it didn't do that. I guess maybe it's changed. But here it says, we went over the intellectual. Words with spiritual impact are best used with people and businesses desiring to make an appeal to some aspect of spirituality. This does not mean religion specifically, but any product or service that resonates with spirituality-oriented markets, that's your who, are appropriate. The clergy, New Age, health, food, and related markets are all respond favorably to sales copy heavy with spiritual impact content. Women and children also respond strongly to words in the spiritual sphere. Marketing documents with strong spiritual impact content can make for the most powerful presentations in the marketplace, but must be used with considerable skill. So this tool is fun, and I would encourage you to take your mantras once you've honed them down, put them into this tool, and if you come up with anything less than 30%, see if you can wordsmith them, add words, so take away words, change words, and bring up the EMV value. It's really fun, and it will get you a mantra that will be memorable and will be really, really usable when you start communicating. Now, I've pulled out some other things that I think are important about mantras that you might want to consider. It's like, there's the other thing about this is there's no, nothing is ever cast in stone or true for everybody or good or bad. You may have something that you just love and lights you up. And if it lights you up, you can bet it's going to light somebody else up. So don't take you know, if you can't get a score of higher than 30%, so what? You know, don't feel like you're a failure. It's just, you know, not working for you, and that's okay. When you're writing things though, and this goes to really good copywriting and communication skills, you're looking for enchantment hooks. You want to enchant and attract exactly the right people who will gladly support you in whatever your creative endeavor is. That's your goal. So here are some things that are hooky. Transformation. If you can communicate transformation, then that will appeal to a certain audience. An example is go from something to something. So actually, this tired to inspired is one that I've used for many years. I use it for this Posting with Purpose Play Shop. And so going from tired to inspired shows transformation. And that can be a very enchanting way to communicate by just using one sentence to go from tired to inspired. Rhyming words are memorable. People remember rhymes. And if you remember in that tool that I showed you, the word Hippo, there's a category you can find rhyming words. So that'll help you. Having a call to action. Now this is a sign, this great story. When I was driving to Successful Thinkers, I had to go from Mountain View to San Mateo every Friday on the freeway on 101. And there in Palo Alto, actually East Palo Alto, there was a big white billboard. And every month they would change the message. Unfortunately, I don't have all the messages because every single one of them was outstanding in so many ways. And they were all the Salvation Army. They were all white with black writing and red imagery, which is, you know, in branding, this is like golden. The Salvation Army brand is red, white, black. The font that they use on everything. The imagery, these goes with the copy. Look at the shape. It's a heart. I mean, I cannot believe this. It's just like, so whoever the marketing person was at this particular phase for Salvation Army was genius. Here's the mantra. Donate some shoes and get someone back on their feet. Mm-hmm. Is that brilliant or what? Verbs, donate, get someone, get back on your feet. It's like, it's just so perfect. Plus, as you're driving down the freeway, you can read it quickly and you can remember it. And the imagery that goes with it, the brand, the color, the heart that's within the shoe. I thought that's brilliant. And it's an enchanting call to action. Makes you want to donate to Salvation Army. Be thought-provoking. And your words can make people think. This one, again, Salvation Army. When we can map every street on earth, no one should have to sleep on them. So that makes you think, okay, what are they communicating? And to what audience are they communicating? And look at the verbs they use. Map every street. Map is an active verb. No one should have to sleep on the street. I think this is brilliant. And I think that, again, the imagery is so powerful. It's black and white. And D, this is your Ballywick here. It's a beautiful portrait of a man, obviously someone down and out, probably homeless or poor in some way. And black and white, everything's black and white except the logo. And the logo is red. So it's going to catch your eye. You're going to be able to read it. It makes you think and take action. Play on words. That's another great thing because it makes it memorable and it makes you think. Doing good does you good. I mean, that's pretty darn simple. Now, those are not, doing and does are passive verbs, but I think that it works in this case, as do the graphics. And there's another one that I think is even better. What do you think of this one?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Donate goods, but what do you see? You see do good. I mean, that is, again, brilliant. I really wonder who this marketing department was at this particular time. I looked through a whole bunch of Salvation Army stuff. It's not all this good, but there was a point in time where somebody was really, really good at this. These are a couple more that I just pulled off when I was looking. A little step may be the beginning of a great journey. That's almost a story. And I think that, you know, like I said, story is powerful. And that is a story in just a few words. Again, guess who did it? and black and white with the red. This one I thought was great because Benjamin Franklin said it a long time ago. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Active verbs: tell, forget, teach, remember, involve, learn. It's almost all active verbs. So that is how you can create a mantra. Anybody have any questions? I'm trying to move this so I can see what time it is. Yeah. Any questions about mantra making?
Well, I'm just blown away. I love this. I love this class. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I love doing this, and I think that doing this together, and when we take, so I really encourage you, all of you who are here today in person, and anybody who's listening after the fact, because I know that Sarah will be listening, and several other people who asked for the recording, and who told me they weren't going to be here. Do some playing around, create that purpose statement and put it into the Facebook group so that we can all play with it. Because I'd rather do this. I'd rather play with your purpose statements and do these fun things and brainstorm ideas. Not every, Sarah may take a look at this and say, where did it go? She may take a look at this and say, ick, that doesn't say what I wanted to say. That doesn't have the impact I wanted to have. That's not what I'm all about. And that's great. Let's go from there. What if this isn't quite right, what can we collectively do to brainstorm better communication? And the only way to do that is to share your stuff, to put it into the Facebook group so that we can all play with it and use the tools and use our brains. I came up with I made a post this morning in a group that I was posting actually about this Boomer Zoomer call. And I said, what we're trying to do is unbamboozle our brains. And the way that we can unbamboozle our brains is to play with each other and to play with these tools. These are toys, and there's a lot of really smart people and technology that went into creating these tools so that we can play with them.
So I have something I'd like to throw in here.
Sure.
About 10 or 11 years ago, I took this like transformative week seminar from Joyce Tennyson, who's an incredible portrait artist. And what I learned, what she said was, okay, we're going to go through all these photos and you're going to go, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and then you go, oh, and it's like you stop in shock and awe or whatever, and you know that you've hit it. And I feel, I think what you're saying here with the mantra is that's what we're after, is we're after that one that we just got it, you know, and I love the idea that you've shown us a path to get there, because I'll just sit here and spin words out by myself and, you know, meh. So I'm looking forward to throwing something up there and then getting some help, because that's what I want, you know, I want my photos to be in that, and I want, you know, people to notice. And then this mantra, I guess, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with it, but you're going to explain that, right?
Yes, I will. And as an example, I mean, there's so many uses that you can use a mantra for. You can use it like a tagline on your website, which I would highly recommend. That's one use. You can use it in your social media posts. So let's not even go to social media yet. You could use it, let's say you were having a gallery show of your art on the body of work. And you come up with a hooky name for the show and a hooky title. And a hooky title is important if you're doing a show, if you're writing a book. You know, interestingly, traditional publishers, I'm not talking about self-publishing or indie publishers, but like the big 5 publishers, mm-hmm. They come up with the title for the book. The author does not. Interesting, huh? And you know what they have very well paid marketing people who know what will sell and what's hooky. And they come up with the title for the book. And the author doesn't have much say in it at all. Because if you're being published by a big publisher, they're paying the author a lot of money in a book deal, but they're the ones that come up with the title and usually the book cover too. But so let's say you were having your show and you had some hooky title, Art on the Body. Then you have your mantra as sort of a tagline or subtitle to that show, because it's Art on the Body is nouns. Your mantra is verbs. And we just saw what appeals to people emotionally are verbs. Weird. So that's one use you could have. And then let's say you were posting, I'll give you an example of what I do. Because I'm on social media a lot, and on my profile on Facebook, for instance, I post every day something. Now, I don't post the same thing over and over. And on my own personal profile, I only post, I would say 20% or less of stuff about what I do. You know, Posting with Purpose Play Shop or the workshop coming up or whatever. I only post a little bit of that on my profile. What I post is stuff about art. And I always preface it with a subtitle or a title. I say, the arts communicate, or art communicates. And then I post the post.
Right. I've wondered about that. Yeah.
Yes. Or I put, if it has something to do with, well, the other one that I like, I find things that appeal to me about inclusion. And inclusion is one of my highest core values. So I have Bridging the Divide. And so I put Bridging the Divide, and then I put the post. So that is sort of like how I would say you could use a mantra.
Okay.
As sort of a preface to what your post is. And that way you hook people. They look at that title and they say, oh, here she comes again. She's going to have some cool thing about art. And after you do that a number of times, you have followers who look for those posts and they respond to them. And sometimes they don't respond at all. And then you think, whoa, I really missed I must have missed the boat on this one. But, you know, that's how I would say you were going to be using your mantra.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
we're about there.
I think we're about out of time. I'm trying to find my clock. Oh, 5 minutes.
Okay.
So let me go back to our beautiful pictures.
I need to go to the restroom very soon. So
well, can you wait 5 minutes?
I hope so.
Well, you can go.
That's another thing about being, what is that phrase you use? We're
chronologically gifted.
Chronologically gifted.
Okay. Okay, well, I did put that whole handout in the chat here if anybody wants to download it from the chat or save the chat. I will also email it out to you guys. I don't have a problem. Kim and Dee are in the play shop, and Joyce, if you're interested, I will share it all with you too, just as my gift to you. I don't
see it, Susan. It's not in the chat here yet. Is that?
Oh, it disappeared. That's the one thing about. That's the one thing. Well, just let me email it to you.
Okay.
You know, and I'll post it in the membership site as well. Bye.
Thank you, Susan. This was great.
Okay, well, I would love to have you return, and I hope that it was of value to you, even though you didn't get in on the first.
Very useful, very timely and useful for me.
Well, great. Well, great. I would love to have you come back, and also that workshop on Wednesday is going to be phenomenal. And so I'll email you the link for that so you can look at what it's all about. Watch the video with Celia and see who she is. And it's a fun process and it's very helpful. You can talk to Dee about it too, because she's done it before.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, great, everybody. It was wonderful having you here, and the disappearing Dee. So Kim, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Did you get a vaccination? Is that why you're